Welcome back. I'm Jen Potter, host of Networking Now. Before, we were talking with Jennifer Hopson, and we were talking about leadership styles and skills in order to raise bigger leaders. Bigger leaders? Raise raising leaders. But now we're switching over to marketing and branding. So we're flipping the script just a little bit, but it all does intertwine. So Jennifer, thank you so much for being here again. And let's just jump right in. So, talking about marketing and branding and businesses, you obviously own several businesses, such as myself. And what are some great things to kind of start off when we're talking about marketing and branding?
I think a lot of the time you have to find your voice, right? When you're marketing and discovering what your brand is. And starting with that one idea. I like to start with the vision. What am I trying to accomplish with this business? Who am I trying to serve with this business? And you do have to do a little bit of work. Who am I actually presenting this business to? Who is your demographic? Have you decided it's working moms with young children? Have you decided it's people that are no longer working? Who are you actually creating this for? And at the heart of it, always remaining authentic. Creating a brand that doesn't align with your message and what you're trying to serve, it's going to come across really fake. It's always going to come across fake. And it's going to come across as you're just trying to sell something. And many times, many of you might be able to. But at the heart of what I do and how I help my entrepreneur clients is, who are they trying to serve? And I think words are important. Is, who are you trying to serve with your product or your services, and how are you going to support them? And start from there and work your way up. You'll get to your colors and your fonts, and all of those things will come when you're talking about your branding. But when you're marketing who you are and what you do, at the heart of it, it has to start with who you serve and how you're going to serve them, how you're going to show up for them, what you're offering them, and where are you offering it. It can be as easy as social media marketing. It can be paid for marketing, but what I'll tell you is, if you are at the very entry level, there are many, many ways that you can share what you're doing without paying for it. Once you've built that brand recognition, then absolutely invest in that. But I think so many people job out what they're trying to do in the marketing and have somebody else create their logo and create all these things that they don't feel attached to what they've created.
That's true. And if you don't truly believe in what you're selling, you're not going to sell it. And I always kid around. I'm like, I can sell anything. And everyone has always questioned, how do you sell everything? Well, anything that I am going to sell, I am going to put my blood, sweat, and tears into. So everything that I work on, I truly believe in it. Because if I go and if I was a vegan and I was working at McDonald's, do you think I'm going to be able to sell a hamburger? I mean, maybe, people are coming there to get that food, but it's, if you don't have a passion for what you're doing, you're not going to be able to step up to the next level. Exactly what you said, right? And I think one of the biggest things that people miss the mark on is our target demographic. And that is so important, right? For your coaching business, if I was to say, tell me a little bit more about Rise Up, who do you focus on?
Well, and that's super important. And here's the caveat to that, though, is you can go with an intention and a vision, but if it starts to shift and you figure out, like, so it's Shine Up. If I started to go in and I'm saying it's for everyone, but my client starts to trickle down and it's actually for females between 35 and 55 with some children. Like, you have to continue to narrow it down so you can find that demographic, and it's okay to shift from your original idea if it's not aligning. So you have to do the deep dive. So Shine Up right now for us, right? My demographic is those 35 to 55-year-old women, people that no longer want to be in the workforce, people that have young children and maybe want to work at home. So that's where I know that I can spend my time talking about the things that those people relate to. If you're talking about things that have nothing to do with the life that your demographic lives, you're going to feel frustrated when you aren't getting new clients.
That is totally spot on. And we can say with a lot of things that we do, myself included, you know, I'm going to service everybody. But if you don't have a target market, it's really hard to hone in on those that skills, right? So I have a professional babysitting company right out the gate. I'm already targeted marketing, right? I am targeting families that have kids. Now, price point. Where is my price point? Where is my location? And the more you hone in, just like you said, you're going to really be able to give them something even bigger than giving them something broad, right? If it's coaching and you're more specific with what you're doing, you can really be specific with what you're working on. For babysitting, like obviously, this is the target market. These are the people that I'm looking for, and this is what we're doing. And the more you're able to do that, the more success you're going to have. But like you said, pivot is so important. So important. Because when I first started that company, we were just a babysitting company, and then COVID came out and we actually flipped and we became a nannying agency. And then the world went back to normal and business got slow again. So I pivoted again. And my target workforce is now with the state unemployment agencies. And that wasn't where I initially started. I initially started with like friends' kids. And so, like, over time, my target changed. And like you said, it's okay to change, it's okay to evolve. Hone in on what you're doing. And a lot of times people get scared, myself included. I run women conferences and people will come to me all the time and go, well, what about everybody else? I say the focus is on women, but all are welcome. So my focus is there, and that's okay.
Well, and it's hard to serve a huge demographic the way they need to be served.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the reality of the situation. There are people in their 20s. They're not going to be served the same way as people that are in their 40s and 50s. That's just the reality of the situation is they require different support at different times in their life versus people that want to remain without children and people that want to have children. It's going to be two very different versions. So, yes, you have a conference that's for women. You're not trying to exclude people, you're trying to serve people in the highest form that you are capable. And I think that's where people start to get into the nitpicky. Well, why don't you offer this? I didn't say I didn't offer. What I said is, this is what I offer, and this is who it serves. And I think, like you said, that pivot, you have your original vision, you have your original demographic, but you also have to match your marketing strategy to your current demographic. How are you speaking to them? How are you advertising to them? What are you offering them? Are you speaking their language? Do you have experiences and do you have your own stories that they can relate to? If someone has two young children, they might not relate to the 25-year-old that's on spring break in Cabo. That's just,
Mm.
that's just the reality of
That's
this,
reality.
right? They may remember a time that they've had that, but they're in a very different season of life. And that's going to also evolve too. Your current demographic, if it is 25, 30 years old, well, if you want to still be in business in 5 to 10 years, are you going to grow with them or are you going to remain in that same demographic?
That's exactly it, right? And, from the smallest businesses to the biggest businesses in the world, when you started talking about that growth and that change as things kind of go on, right? You're like, I didn't say I didn't offer that. Maybe you don't offer it right now. Maybe that's not an option right now, but then in the future, it is an option. When Starbucks first started, they only sold coffee. And in 2005, they literally had 3 to 4 baked goods, right? Like it was like literally 3 or 4 things. And then over time, they're like, oh, people actually want this. Oh, you know what? They don't want this. And they pull it in, they take it out, they try it. This could be a service that works. This could be one that doesn't. And you don't have to offer a service. You can just say, because that's just not what I do.
Yeah.
This is what I do. And that was beautiful. You're like, I may not do this, but this is what I do. And, almost like just kind of changing the attention over to these are the things that I specialize in, and you're really strong about that. And that comes through when you're marketing, because if you're marketing to everybody, not everybody's going to look at it. But if you're really specific, right? And that's Facebook does this, like you can actually target 18 to 25-year-olds. You can actually target somebody in a city or someone in the suburbs. You can be so specific with your target market just with like a Facebook ad. It's actually insane.
Yeah, and I think that's where many entrepreneurs, especially when they're getting started, if they don't have the depth of clients, they just want to grasp at everything, right? You want anyone and everyone to sign up. However, that's only going to last for a hot second. It's not going to build the depth in your client list because you haven't created a specialized program that solves someone's problem or serves someone's intent. And I think that's where people get frustrated because they want it to be for everyone. So now they're exhausted because they're trying to fit every kind of client into their program that's already tailored.
Oh, I like that. And that's something to think about, right? And the more you specialize in those things and the more you start to work with what you feel the most comfortable with, I feel like it evolves and grows on its own.
Hmm.
And the more that you just kind of let it grow naturally. And again, looking at a business such as yourself, like I've I've had the pleasure of getting to know you over the past several months and watching you grow and evolve in business. And it's a beautiful thing when you're watching those things change, trying to figure out what works best and how to target it and how to make it work for you. And so with that being said, is there anything else that you think that we should kind of touch upon that our audience may need to know about branding or
I think
marketing?
the only other thing is include a little bit of who you are, right? Don't be afraid to it just needs to be a business. It has to have its own identity. It's part of who you are, and share, something interesting about you. Share something funny. Share why you started it, or, did you wish you had this availability? I think some people try to separate themselves from their brand, but they inevitably are a part of it, so it's okay to show that side of it.
And I love that. And I'm totally hope I don't embarrass you by saying this, but when you told me the name of your company is Shine Up, instantly the first thing I thought of, well, that's the type of energy that you always have, right? Like I say this about myself, like I have all of this energy. And then I met you and I was like, oh, we have like matching energies. And you just are vibrant and full of energy. And you're like, and my business is Shine Up Coaching. I'm like, that fits you perfectly because you have this vibrance about you. You have this energy, this positivity that when you hear the name and I hear you and you're like, oh, this makes perfect sense that this is your business. So you do shine through your business. And I think that that's perfect when it comes to marketing because that's the type of person that you are. And then you're marketing something that is saying, this is what we can do. I can help you get to here. I can teach you these things. And like, I think that that's great branding. So you nailed it right on the head. So yeah, that's really awesome. So thank you for that. And if you just want to tell everybody quickly, what your, how to get a hold of you and all of those fun things.
Absolutely. So I can always be reached on social. You can find us Shine Up Coaching. Our website is shineupcoaching.com. You can even email me if you personally want to have a chat. Sometimes I'm not for you, but it's good to have a conversation. So you can email me at jenniferhopsonvp@gmail.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me again. I always enjoy our conversations and I hope you have an amazing day. Stay tuned. Candy's on next.